ready for the Patriots in the Super Bowl, Keefe?
Yes, Jones, I am ready for the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Let's go!
Oh, man!
Yes, sir! We are going back. Woo! The drought is over. 7 long years without a team in the Super Bowl. How did we do it? We are back better than ever, though, Jones. What a thrill.
The glitter.
Absolute thrill.
The glitter is back.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That was very visual for everyone watching on Twitch and YouTube. If you're
That's
listening,
right.
It's a glitter bomb in here.
Yeah.
We've
This
only
looks
broken
good.
those out twice, Keefe, the glitter guns.
And I think for good reasons.
And
One,
we have a lot of them. Let me just tell you.
what are we going to do next?
When they were about to shut down Party City, I stocked up on those
you did.
puppies.
That was a good idea by
We have
you.
a lot of them just for a day like today.
They might, in 2 weeks, potentially. I don't want to jinx it. I want to get ahead of ourselves. Maybe in 2 weeks we could also have a little bit of a glitter gun party.
Does look like Lieutenant Dan on New Year's Eve in Forrest Gump, all on his hair.
Oh, baby.
Very exciting, though. Very exciting.
Very exciting. 10-7. They win it yesterday, Keefe.
10-7.
A weather game.
Scheim and Costos, by the way, talked me out of the under. Now I was so thrown for a loop. I did not bet the over, but I also didn't bet the under. The whole time I'm like, it's gonna be under. It's gonna be under. These are two good defenses.
Oh,
it's
I
gonna
thought
be
you
under.
were going to be all over the over.
No,
I was told it was an overrated D.
So, yeah, that's what I heard. But then when we were doing the numbers and you're like, what do you think the final score is going to be? Every time I came up with a number for what the score was, it was under 42.5. So that's why I ended up not betting it at all. But anyway, yeah, what a wild, low-scoring, field possession type of game. The elements, I know you love a good element game. Snow City out there.
I feel like my case for anti-weather games was very strong yesterday, but we'll get into that.
That's another time, yeah.
Over the course of the show here today, Patriots are going back to the Super Bowl, their 12th appearance. They're in search of their 7th championship. They're Road Warriors, Keefe.
9-0. Nobody's ever been 9-0 on the road in a season.
Warriors. So they are Road Warriors, undefeated on the road. They have a chance to win 10 games. I'm sorry, other teams have gotten to 10. They'll have a neutral site game, obviously.
Yeah.
Coming up 2 weeks from now. You can weigh in all day long. 617-779-7937, your phone number to get in touch. Here on a Patriots Monday, Jones and Keefe. However, Patriots snowed in Denver. So I think we're talking to Hunter Henry and Christian Ellis tomorrow.
How surprised is Hunter that he's going to talk to us on a Tuesday?
Oh, I think that'll be surprising for him.
Yeah.
So, again, you can discuss all day long. 617-779-7937. Interact, Twitter and Instagram at Jones and Keefe. You can watch along and chat. Twitch.tv/Boston WEEI. Always. And I mean always a healthy chat going on Twitch. Do the same on YouTube. You can watch there. You can chat there. Just subscribe to WEEI. It's a good day to watch us pick glitter out of our teeth and hair and wherever else this glitter is, because it's a day to celebrate.
It's everywhere.
With the Patriots back in the Super Bowl. How'd they do it? How'd they do it yesterday?
They grinded. They absolutely grinded. It was obviously a defensive game. That goes without saying. And they give up that first drive, or they give up the scoring drive early in the game, and you're like, oh, no. You're like, Jarrett Stidham? Like, what is this guy doing? Like, he throws a dart down the field.
That throw to Mims that beat Gonzo, and maybe Hawkins got lost in coverage. I don't know who you pinned that one on.
Yeah, but
whatever.
even still,
Not
Gonzo.
maybe. He got lost in coverage.
3rd and 10, though.
But Gonzo was close to him, and you're like, all right, Gonzo Mims, I'll take Gonzo advantage, please. Jarrett Stidham throwing the ball, and you're like, oh, no. Like, is this going to be one of those backup quarterbacks has a good game situation? Like, is this Nick Foles? Like, early on, 7-0, and the Patriots offense couldn't do a thing. And some are going to look at it and say, well, what do you want? It was a blizzard out there. Not the whole game. It wasn't a blizzard the whole game, and the offense was struggling. But the defense kept him in it and won it for him. Forget kept him in it. The defense won it for him and doing a great job once they started dialing up the pressure on Stidham. And they showed a couple times during the game the graphic of under pressure versus no pressure, and you're like, oh, my God.
Do you know where the numbers finished? I'll get them for you. But
I'm sure they were pretty impressive where you're like,
it's laughable.
and we send the house every time.
We talked about this, and really it was Phil Perry who alerted us to these numbers. But we talked about this during the week. Jarrett Stidham versus pressure yesterday, Keefe, 1 for 10, 4 yards, 2 giveaways, the quote-unquote fumble, and the interception. He had a passer rating of 0. Against no pressure, clean pocket, 16 out of 21, 129, a touchdown. I mean, pretty much all of it was the passing touchdown and the deep bomb to Mims.
Yeah. But that was a good play call. Even like once they got down the field, and they were highlighting this on the broadcast. Tony Romo, we can talk about him today too. But he was talking about
He's a weatherman. He's a meteorologist.
I mean,
now.
he was all over it.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys can't see it at home, but it's snowing. It's like, yeah, we can see it as well.
The wind's blowing one way.
Yeah, no, it's a blizzard.
And then it's blowing the other way when you switch
but
for the quarter.
a really good.
Oh, Jim!
So he got the ball down to Mims, but then even like the touchdown was a great kind of play call. And then he kind of booted out a little bit, hit Courtland Sutton, and you're like, wait a minute. Like, is this team going to be able to put up some points? And that Denver defense was legitimate. And maybe by the end of the week, we were kind of talking down too much about them. Like, Houston, Seattle, which also are great defenses, but Denver deserves to be on that list. And nothing was easy at all offensively. And it's as bad as Drake Maye has looked really all season. Now, give him a ton of credit for his scampers. He scampers into the end zone, their lone offensive touchdown.
I mean,
he wins the game at the very end.
I just want to hold up on that for a minute because there's a lot of discussion during the regular season. And you heard this, I'm sure, elsewhere. Keefe and I were very much on board with him as a mobile quarterback. I would celebrate him as a mobile quarterback. I think he's helped you win 2 playoff games with his legs. The Chargers game, his legs were a huge factor. Yeah. That's pretty much all he did yesterday. And during the regular season, you don't want him to get hurt and get put in harm's way. The guy hasn't missed a start yet still, you fraidy cats. We've been trying to tell you that all year. And secondarily, you can only win games in the NFL if your quarterback's in the pocket, and I want a pocket passer, and I want a quarterback who sits in there and surveys the field and wins it with his arm. Yeah. Yesterday, you were wrong. That's a great defense from Denver, and he won the game because of his legs. He even took some play calling into his own hands at the end of the game. That scamper around the end, Keefe, the naked bootleg, O-line didn't know. Ramondre didn't know. He kept it on his own, and he picked up the first down on his own, which is a ballsy play.
Yeah.
It was a play where they needed to run some clock there anyway. I think even if he didn't pick up the first down, Denver probably still doesn't win the game because they didn't do anything the whole second half.
No.
But huge play by him, and his legs were a massive factor. And I would just remind everybody who doesn't want him to run and thinks you can only win with a pocket passer.
No, that's insane.
You're wrong.
No, that is obviously wrong, and a big part of it. Hell, even in the game, in the NFC game, I think the quarterback's abilities to run or not run played a factor in that one too. But
for sure,
no, especially in the elements and where guys are slipping, and you're just worried about any kind of like potential, turnover or bad handoff or whatever. Like your best player put the ball in his hands, and it worked out. He ended up with 10 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown. So, that was huge. Now, you got to score more than 10 points, and, we can cross that bridge when we get to it and we sort of preview the next game and all that, but they kind of grinded, and credit to Vrabel. Like we said, Vrabel greater than Sean Payton, right?
Oh. I bet your mentions, mentions, Keefe, were the same as mine early in the game.
Early on,
Vrabel checkmark over Peyton. He's got Stidham making big plays. He's rolling him out, and Vrabel's overrated, and you guys are so wrong, and you don't know ball. How could you give Vrabel the checkmark? Wrong. Peyton lost him the game.
Pretty clear.
Lost him the game.
Gave up easy points in a game where clearly points were going to be at a premium. Both defenses, even before the weather really kicked in, both defenses were pretty locked in. And you have a backup quarterback, and you're down in there, and you're like, no, we're going to go for it, and we're going to run a horrible play. So I don't know what was worse, deciding to go for it on fourth down when you were the Broncos there, or the play that they ran. But either way, gives it's like a shot in the arm for the Patriots at that point.
They were both bad.
Bad.
I think going for it with your back, because I was fully in favor of the Pats going for. I hated their play call too, the tush push.
What was that?
I was fully in favor of the Pats going for it there because you have arguably the MVP of the league. When you have a backup and you have a chance to make it a 2-possession game at home, you need the points. That was brainless.
And also trust your defense, right? Like I think there are certain times where you're like, hey, if this game was being played in a dome, maybe you feel a little bit differently. But you needed to kick the points there. They didn't. Loomed really large. Both teams had a chance to kick a field goal late in the first half. Both teams missed. So you had, it's a 7-7 game at the half. Denver should have had the lead. And they didn't. Also, Vrabel, now I know he went for it on that fourth down that you're talking about, but there were some other fourth downs, second half, where just as like a frustrated fan, you're like, go for it. But like, no, he knew, trust the defense.
Well, which one did you? I don't know that I wanted them. I wanted them to go for the one they tush pushed on. I didn't.
No, that one was fine.
I didn't so after they converted the fourth down and ultimately kicked a field goal. I didn't want them to go for that. Did you want them to go for that one later on in the drive?
I'm trying to think. No. I'm saying like you could have wanted that, but it was like, but you were like, no, you're better off doing this and trusting the defense.
No, Vrabel,
like, a first down maybe even like ends the game, but you're like, you know what? you almost had more confidence. It's similar to the week before. You had more confidence on defense. Like after that one drive that the Broncos had, you're like, man, it's going to be really difficult for them to score. And if anything, you were like, some of those Bryce Behringer punts, you're like, well, what if he doesn't hold on to the ball? Or what if he shanks it even worse than he did? Or what if there's a bad exchange between the center and Drake Maye or Drake Maye and Stevenson? And Jim Nantz even tried to jinx it. Because it was like 10-7, Pats had the ball. And he's like, yeah, I mean, this is one of those games you might see like a defensive score. I was like, Jim.
You're like, Jim,
please don't.
Jim?
Please don't. Like, I know you're probably at your wit's end dealing with Romo all day, but please, not right now.
Oh, Jim!
Yeah, don't do that.
That's what you were doing?
But you're like, it almost felt like when it really became like a blizzard and a game of field position and they had the wind going against them, you're like, they're only up by 3. Like, there could be some bad bounce. And there's no way that, like, Denver's going to put together a scoring drive, but there are other ways to score. So, like, as a fan, that's how I was feeling, like, the whole second half.
Vrabel understood it. Vrabel understood the assignment. Peyton didn't. And that's a big factor in why you won. The coaching advantage, which we told you had during the week, and it proved out over the course of the game. Vrabel understood the assignment. Sean Payton didn't.
This team is DTF, Jim.
Not to be that guy.
Yeah.
Maybe this is fairly obvious when it's only a 3-point game, but I mean, with Bo Nix, Denver probably wins that game because Bo Nix is really good at scrambling. And I feel like in this game, Stidham had a couple, should have had a few more, also had one where he was just a little too slow and they caught up to him. Whereas, like, Nix is one of those guys when you're watching it from the other side, just frustrates the hell out of you because you're like, get him, stop him, get him. And you can't. Like, he actually, I think, would have been good yesterday.
And he puts together enough of those drives at the end of the games where I would have been fearful. Look.
Although I don't know if anybody's making field goals.
Well,
like, you got to get pretty close.
This is a discussion for later in the week or even later in the day when we get more into the matchup with Seattle. But if people still aren't taking the Patriots seriously, Seattle opened as a 3.5-point favorite. It went to 4.5. I don't know where it is now. But I understand Seattle being a favorite. I do. They just beat the Denver Broncos without their starting quarterback, Jarrett Stidham. It was an ugly game. They beat the Texans the week before without Nico Collins.
Seattle's
they beat the Chargers.
One seed and they want to get. Yeah, so, no, I have no problem with that.
So
they should be the favorite.
I don't think it's disrespectful that the Patriots aren't favored, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but they will have the ultimate case to shut everybody up in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks against the Seattle Seahawks, where I don't know what people will say about that one, but I get it. I mean, if it was Bo Nix yesterday, I agree with you. It could have been different.
Yeah, might have been tough.
Here's Mike Vrabel on Drake Maye, making plays with his feet in the second half.
Mike, how much, is this a kind of game of adjustments? Your quarterback using his legs, instead of his arm in critical situations.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Drake and, the ability to, extend plays, and if it's not there, gain chunks, and he's done that most of the year. And, again, we'll have to get a lot of things corrected, and we'll have to play our best football game in 2 weeks if we want to finish champions.
Okay. So I do think that's a big factor in his game, and the Patriots leaned in on it in the second half. How many big runs did he have? He had the only touchdown of the game with his legs.
One.
He had the 28-yarder to extend a scoring drive in the second half. He had the big play right before halftime, Keefe, where it gave him a shot at a long field goal that Borregales had no chance at.
No.
But it gave him a shot because he got right down, and Vrabel called the timeout with 1 second before halftime. It gave him a crack at getting some points.
Yeah, I mean, at least half his runs. I mean, then there was also, it felt like a failed tush-push, but they did pick it up.
Good point. I don't know if they actually ever picked it up.
What was that?
On the field, that was
friend of the show, Milton Williams, what is going on with that play?
Good point.
That did not seem great.
And then, of course, he had the play to seal the game at the end where we bumped it at the top of the show. So his legs were a big factor.
I mean, he almost had as many rushing yards as he did passing yards.
True. Yeah. In horrible weather yesterday, here's Maye on the bad footing.
How was the footing out there in the second half?
Yeah, it was definitely a little slick. I think definitely a little slick. It's hard for, when it's grass for it to, I think underneath with the heaters like our stadium does, it's hard with grass, I guess, to do that. But, no, I think, it was good enough on the last run to get around the edge. And I think, other than that, we, had some times where we had some chances to score. And I think we got to help our defense out more. But, hey, it is what it is. And that was, man, it's awesome going to Super Bowl. So I can't complain.
It is pretty awesome.
Can't complain. There was that one play where Ramondre Stevenson slipped in the backfield. Then Drake Maye turned around and also slipped. And I was like, oh, no. Like, that's when you're just staring at the clock, being like, they're just going to bleed this thing down. Because it didn't feel like either team was going to be able to put together a sustained drive with, like, multiple first downs, certainly pass completions, let alone, just grinding it out on the ground. It was going to be something fluky. It was going to be like a bad pass, fumble, pick six. It was going to be something like that, or what happened,
I
which
mean,
was just sort of bleeding the clock eventually and then winning the game that way.
To your point, I think there was one real drive in the elements, and it was the one where Borregales misses field goal late in the third.
Yeah.
Where they rushed out to take that kick, and there was a stupid draw play on 3rd and 6 or 7, whatever it was,
Terrible
where they were just settling for a long field goal there. That was an 8-play, 51-yard drive. The drives in the fourth quarter, 3 and out, 4 plays, 10 yards, 6 plays, 17 yards, 3 and out, blocked field goal on a quick drive for Denver. Another 3 and out. You had a 2-play drive where there was an interception by Gonzo, who atoned for some of his mistakes earlier in the day, although that was just a wounded duck that popped right to him. And then the final drive was 6 plays, 14 yards, but 3 of those were kneel downs. So there was one sustained drive in the elements yesterday.
The second half, right, where it really started to pick up a little bit, you get the field goal drive, which ended up being the game-winning field goal.
16 plays, 64 yards, 9:31.
9:31.
That really was before the weather started to turn, though.
That was the game winner.
Yeah.
That was all we had, because following that, the teams went punt, miss field goal, punt, 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 miss field goal, punt, pick. Like, what a finish.
What a game.
Oh, smokes.
Well, we're here. You guys can talk about this all day long on a Patriots Monday. 617-779-7937. What'd you think of Drake Maye? How are the Patriots going back to the Super Bowl facing the Seattle Seahawks? What do you know, Keefe? Pats, Seahawks, another snowstorm in the elements, just like it was.
Deja vu.
Back in 2014 season, but, January, February of 2015 was a mess, just like today was a mess, and I'm not even talking about the glitter all over this studio, which we're going to have to clean up.
A lot of glitter.
We'll get to your feedback all day long here as the Patriots are returning to the Super Bowl, 10-7 winners in the AFC title game in Denver. We'll get to the Patriots defense carrying them yet again right after Trending with Billy Lanny.